Billionaire insults waitress in German, stunned when she replies perfectly and calls him out. The restaurant was alive with chatter, silverware clinking against plates, and the occasional laughter of people enjoying their evening. It was a Friday night, one of those nights where the city lights made everything feel golden, or even the tired seemed to borrow energy from the glow outside. But inside the softly lit Italian bistro tucked in a quiet corner of the city, one moment was about to change everything for a young waitress named Emily and for a man who thought the world revolved around him. Emily was 26, working long hours at this restaurant while studying part-time at the university. Life had never handed her anything easily. Her father had passed away when she was 16, her mother worked 2 jobs to keep the family afloat, and Emily had taken on responsibility early, helping raise her younger brother. She had a resilience about her. A strength hidden under the kindness in her smile. To most customers, she was invisible, the polite waitress, taking orders with grace, cleaning up with efficiency. But behind that humble exterior, she carried a fire. She spoke 3 languages fluently, was studying her master's degree in linguistics, and harbored dreams of one day teaching internationally. She never boasted, never showed off, she simply worked, saved, and kept her eyes on her goals. That night, a new table drew her attention. A man in his early 50s walked in, his suit tailored to perfection, his shoes polished enough to reflect light. He had that unmistakable aura of wealth and entitlement, the kind that turned heads as he strode in, not because he was kind, but because the room seemed to bend around his confidence. This was Klaus Reinhardt, a German billionaire investor visiting the city for a conference. To the world, he was powerful, ruthless in business, a man who saw people as tools or obstacles. To Emily, in that moment, he was just another customer, someone to serve with politeness, no matter his reputation. But Klaus had already judged her before she even greeted him. She approached his table, offering her usual warm smile, notebook in hand. "Good evening, sir. May I take your order?" she asked gently. He glanced up at her with sharp eyes and then, in a voice dripping with arrogance, muttered in German to his colleague beside him, "Look at this one. A waitress, probably too stupid to do anything else with her life. They're only good for carrying plates." His words were low enough to avoid suspicion but loud enough for her to hear clearly. He didn't know that Emily had studied German for over 8 years, that she had lived abroad briefly during her exchange program, or that she understood every word he had just said. His insult cut through her, but she kept her composure. Her hands trembled slightly as she wrote down the order, but her face remained calm. She walked back toward the kitchen, fighting the sting of humiliation. She could have ignored it, most people did when confronted with people like him. But something inside her stirred. She thought of her mother, who had sacrificed her health working endless shifts. She thought of her younger brother, who looked up to her, believing she could take on the world. She thought of every person who had been underestimated, insulted, or dismissed simply because of their job, their clothes, or their circumstances. And she decided, tonight, she wouldn't stay silent. When she returned to Klaus's table with their drinks, she leaned slightly forward, her voice calm but firm. In flawless German, she replied, "Es tut mir leid, dass Sie denken, mein Leben sei weniger wert, nur weil ich Ihnen das Abendessen bringe. Aber ich spreche 3 Sprachen, studiere meinen Master, und trage mein Family auf meinen Schultern. Was haben Sie, außer Geld, das Sie glauben lasst, Sie sind besser als andere? I'm sorry you think my life is worth less just because I serve you dinner. But I speak 3 languages, I'm studying for my master's degree, and I carry my family on my shoulders. What do you have, besides money, that makes you think you're better than others?" The table went silent. His colleague nearly choked on his drink, his eyes darting between Klaus and Emily. For the first time in years, Klaus Reinhardt looked stunned. His arrogance cracked, just slightly, as her words cut deeper than he expected. He tried to regain control, smirking as though her reply didn't matter, but his eyes betrayed him. "So," he muttered in English now, "you speak German. That doesn't change the fact that you're serving me." Emily nodded, her eyes unwavering. "And maybe that's what bothers you most," she replied softly. "That respect can't be bought, and tonight, you lost yours." She walked away with dignity, her heart pounding, but something inside her felt lighter. She had spoken not just for herself but for everyone who had been belittled. The restaurant buzzed again, but whispers carried through the room. Customers had overheard her sharp response. Some even clapped quietly when Klaus shifted uncomfortably in his seat. The billionaire finished his meal in silence, leaving a large tip at the end, not out of kindness, but pride. He left quickly, his usual dominance dimmed. Emily didn't care about the money, it was her voice that mattered that night. Later, as she closed her shift, her manager approached her. "Emily," he said, "I've worked here for 20 years, and I've never seen anyone handle a man like him the way you just did. You reminded everyone tonight that no matter who we are or what we do, dignity is something no one can take from us." Emily walked home under the streetlights, her feet sore but her spirit unbreakable. She thought of her father, who always told her, "People may underestimate you, but never underestimate yourself." And tonight, she finally understood. From that night forward, she carried herself differently. She wasn't just a waitress, she was a fighter, a learner, a dreamer. She knew her path was still filled with challenges, paying for school, supporting her family, balancing endless responsibilities, but now she had a story, a moment that would forever remind her of her worth. The lesson was clear: money may buy power, but respect is earned, and true strength comes from within. So, to you watching this video right now, ask yourself, how many times have you stayed silent when someone tried to put you down? How many times have you believed that your worth depended on someone else's opinion? Emily's story is a reminder that no matter your job, your struggles, or your circumstances, you are never less than anyone else. Your voice matters, and sometimes, it only takes one brave moment to change everything. If this story touched your heart, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your experiences in the comments. Have you ever stood up for yourself when someone tried to belittle you? Or maybe you wish you had. Let's create a space where we lift each other up instead of tearing each other down. And before you go, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Be kind always. We share powerful stories that remind us of the strength in kindness, courage, and dignity. Hit that like button, turn on the notification bell, and remember, no matter what the world throws your way, always choose respect, always choose courage, and always be kind.